Hello, everyone. I have an embarrassing story that I would like to share with you guys. Um, that's related to politics. I was actually a fan of Bernie Sanders because I liked the fact that, he spoke about, tuition free colleges, which I really, really liked. Yet again, I've been talking about having a tuition free college nationwide all over the country since I was a teenager. The fact that he brought that up, and I was thinking, you know what? Canada's been doing that for a while now. I don't know what's taking America so long to come to this idea until Bernie Sanders came into the picture. He seemed like he was independent. He seemed to have his own ideas. I mean, that was an original idea. Like, no Canada really spoke of. Tuition free colleges? That makes sense for everybody, which is good. I mean, and he was also not against Muslims or didn't want to put a ban, which I thought, okay, this guy seems like he's tolerant of every religious faith. And this guy seemed like he was all for equality. I mean, he seemed like a likable guy. He was independent. However, here's one problem. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, that's when I officially lost all respect for him, as well as Elizabeth Warren. Because Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, those people were for the middle class. They were anti-corporatism, and they were against the ideology of collectivism. But the fact that Bernie Sanders was, he was like the guy who had a clean record. He seemed like the quintessential figurehead for change. And the fact that Bernie Sanders himself was, um, running and going solo on his own path, he seemed like he was an independent guy. But after endorsing Hillary Clinton, I realized he's not for the middle class. He endorsed a woman who herself happens to be like anti middle class, and she's for the corporations because she's only in it for corporate interests. That's all she ever cared about. She's all business. She doesn't care about the middle class or anything like that. But she did specialize. She did one good thing for the middle class. I guess it's for the health care in her years as like senator, which is fine. I mean, everybody could use some health care, and she specialized. She was knowledgeable in that from the way she kept talking about it so much, even during the 2008 election. But Bernie Sanders, when he sided with her, that's when I realized this guy is not a figure for change, and he really needs to stop referring to himself as someone who has been independent, because there's nothing independent about him, especially since he's running for the Democrat Party. So this is why I lost respect for Bernie Sanders, and this is why I'm pretty sure that if he runs again in 2020, I'm not going to vote for him. Not after, being a sellout and endorsing Hillary Clinton. I mean, here's the thing. Bernie Sanders, he himself lost the election because the election was rigged in Hillary Clinton's favor. She stole the election from him. I mean, it was rigged the entire time. It was scripted. I mean, he was scripted to lose. It was all part of this elaborate scheme, elaborate plan for her to win. Hey, don't look at me. It said in her emails, and one of the whistleblowers called her out on it. So, with that being said, I think it's safe to say that Bernie Sanders is not only somebody that I lost respect for, but he is someone that I will never vote for again. If Elizabeth Warren ran for president, I would not vote for her either. If you say that you're for the middle class, then you need to show it through your actions. Don't just support someone just because they're on the same party as you. The election was rigged. Don't make it seem like. Here's the thing, the person who beat you in the party that you're representing, you should not sponsor that person. Don't give me this crap about, vote for the lesser of two evils. Don't talk to me about that. I would much rather stand or walk with my walk. I would much rather walk through the exit with my head held high, and as well as my self respect intact. That is much, much better than voting for the lesser of any of the two evils. That's a fact. But Bernie Sanders didn't want to do that. I mean, he thought like, you know what, I'm just gonna support someone who's corrupt. And I've always wondered why people just focus on those two. I mean, the top four people were Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Gary Johnson, and Jill Stein. That's the bottom line. I don't see what the big deal was. But I will say this though: people were just focused on the top two, which were Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And a lot of people ask me, who are you going to vote for, Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? And of course, I did tell them, how would you expect me to commit suicide? Put a gun to my mouth and pull the trigger? Or would you want me to die a slow and painful death by jumping into a pool of corrosive or of hydrochloric acid where I can dissolve into into bits of flesh and blood? Which one is it? Either way, that sounds a whole lot better than voting for either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. That's just my take. But Bernie Sanders, I really, really liked him in the beginning. But when he turned out to be a sellout and endorsed Hillary, I was never, ever going to see him the same way again. Not voting for that guy. He's not getting my support at all. So, with that being said, this is actually my embarrassing story. I used to be a Bernie Sanders supporter at heart. And I thought he was a good guy, but no, he was a sellout. He was for the middle class, but he became a sellout. And all for what? To beat the guy who you have opposed. Doesn't make any sense to me. And besides, Hillary Clinton, she won the popular vote by 3 million. The Electoral College, that was a lifesaver for Trump. But anyway, thanks for watching my video. And if this story was too embarrassing for you to bear, I don't blame you for cringing. Take care.